Hey, what is going on, you guys? It is Mr. No Sleep here from Old School RuneScape, and welcome to a brand new loot video for you all today. So today I bring you guys loot from 10 hours of Skeletal Wyverns, requiring 72 Slayer to kill. These Skeletal Wyverns are known for their incredible drop table and for being a good safe spottable monster to kill with range. For this video though, I used melee since I was using my main account instead of my Iron Man account, and I went with the Dragon Hunter Lance, which is definitely best in slot here if you're going with melee, and a pretty good tank setup. For the inventory, I did a Divine Super Combat Potion, 2 Restores, 5 Anglerfish, and a Saradomin God Sword. This SGS is not necessary, but it will extend your trips here if you do time the specs correctly, so that is always nice. I am really curious to see how much money we make from this 10 hour, but before we do get started on this grind, we do have some quick words from our sponsor today, Raid Shadow Legends. So you're at home, you're bored, you have a phone, what do? You're on a boat in the middle of the ocean, you have 3 days of food and a phone, what do? Well, that is a trick question because they all have the same answer. You play Raid Shadow Legends. Check out the link in the description below and get started right away, or scan my QR code. So we all know every great game has some serious challenges waiting near the end, something you can really dig your teeth into if you want to master it. Well, in Raid, the end game is the Doom Tower, and that's a heck of a ride. This huge tower is basically a giant prison. The Arbiter fought a pack of really nasty bad guys a long time ago, but she wasn't strong enough to take them out for good, so instead she locked them up in a massive super tower until she figured out how to deal with them. Thousands of years later, there's still a Doom Tower, so I guess we know how that went. What's worse now, though, is that Cyroth is leaking back into the world, and the Arbiter doesn't have the power to keep the wards up, so the Doom Tower's failing, and it's up to us to go in there and knock some heads before they get out. To climb to the top, you're going to need an army of champions. The regular Doom Tower floors tend to be pretty easy to deal with if you've got a strong team, but the bosses are really tough. You'll generally want ways to remove debuffs, and you'll also want pretty high resistance. Lots of Doom Tower bosses ignore block debuffs, and they do really nasty stuff to your champions. A couple of bosses need specific mechanics to beat them, like the Scarab King, and he takes barely any damage when you reduce his max HP, so if you attack him without a shield buff on, he'd wreck your whole team really fast. I could go on for ages talking about how to try to fight these bosses, but the real fun is trying things out and experimenting it for yourself. And what's new in Raid? There's a ton happening this month. Special events every day, a bunch of awesome champions, and the brand new Guardian Ring that gives you a load of new ways to use your champions. With the start of December, Raid is releasing one of its biggest, most anticipated features ever. Take a look at this. It just looks insane, and with all these new updates and even bigger updates around the corner, now is the perfect time to get started in Raid. If you wait any longer, you're only going to get left behind, so if you want a huge head start, all you have to do is hit the links in the description below or scan my QR code and you will get an epic hero, Chinoro, who's amazing in the Doom Tower. 200,000 silver, 1 XP booster, 1 energy refill, and 1 ancient shard so you can summon an awesome champion as soon as you get into game. All of this treasure will be waiting for you here, and the rewards will only be available for the next 30 days to new players. Alright, well, I know that was a bit longer than usual, but with that being said, let's get into today's video. So since I already talked about the gear in the beginning of the video, taking a look at the inventory, it is important to note that the reason I was using 2 super restores instead of prayer potions is because these Skeletal Wyverns drop prayer potion 4s, which I wanted to strictly just pick up for the price check instead of using them as supplies, since they are worth a lot of money. I mean, they are an incredible drop, not only because of the price, but specifically for Iron Man accounts. Whether you're a hardcore group or normal, it is so beneficial to have all the prayer potions that you can get access to. You really shouldn't have to use prayer here. I mean, not everyone uses piety on Skeletal Wyverns, and I'm pretty sure not a lot of people use overhead prayers here either, so it's all optional at the end of the day. With piety though, I was averaging 60 to 65 kills an hour with my Dragon Hunter Lance, so I think it's worth it personally if you don't really have to worry about prayer potions. So alongside the prayer potions, you can expect unnoted cooked lobsters as a drop from these wyverns, which if you are a lower level, you can use them to extend your trip. I wasn't picking up any personally though, since I did have a Saradomin God Sword spec, and that would give me extra HP usually throughout this whole video. There's sometimes where, you know, I'll misclick the SGS at the wrong time and the wyvern will hit up to a 40 on me, so that did happen a couple times, so you just gotta really time that spec correctly since you're not going to be using that shield when you're using the SGS. There's one important note that I actually didn't mention in the intro of this video, which I kind of regret, but there is a short shortcut that I didn't know about until about hour 5 into this video, where you can get to these skeletal wyverns quicker. You do need 72 agility, which is ironic because it's 72 Slayer to kill the wyverns. So that is a nice shortcut, very similar to the Hydra one, and I did actually just find out about that. So not sure if that's new, but let it be known. Moving on though, in our Ancient Wyvern video that I did recently, 10 hours there, I did get a Visage. So coming into this video, I really wanted the same thing to happen. Even though the price difference of the Skeletal Visage versus the Draconic is significantly different, it's still a really cool drop to see on the ground. So we will see if I'm lucky enough to keep this streak alive. But other than the Visage drop from these wyverns, you can also expect Elite Clue Scrolls, so you never know what can happen there. I think I got 1 throughout this video, which is pretty good, but I should have gotten 2. And some more rares, Dragon Plate Legs, which are always around 160k. They never change in price, it seems. And of course, Granite Plate Legs. Sadly, those are not that expensive, probably around 30k. Something that I really do love about these Skeletal Wyverns is that they've been in the game a very long time, December of 2005, and they are the only monster to actually drop Granite Legs, so it's kind of a fun fact for you. And most people probably know this, but you can safe spot these wyverns with range, which I did see many people do in the 2200 total level world. I actually saw the same 2 people safe spotting these wyverns for about 4 days straight. So I do imagine that some people use their main accounts to just range these wyverns and collect all of the drops, because the good thing about camping here is that you really don't need a bank. Bringing high alks makes it so that all of the unnoted items can be alked right away into coins, and luckily all of the other drops are mostly noted or stackable, so you can stay here for a very long time. Or you can just kill them like I was, and that is just banking every 15 kills and not really prolonging your trip at all. So I really like the fact that Skeletal Wyverns, you get 2 different choices on how you want to kill them. And just looking at the bank tab throughout this video, it's just really incredible drops. I mean, I was actually picking up everything, but I imagine most people wouldn't pick up the elemental runes that these Skeletal Wyverns drop. But the seed drops are really nice. The Snapdragon and the Renar, there was actually a time where I got 3 Snapdragon drops in a row. And the price on that is 53k a seed, so whether you're doing this for profit or resources, it's really nice to see all of the drops just add up in that bank tab. It's kind of impossible not to make good money here if you think of it that way. Now, I was actually picking up every bone for the price check, but if you want to bring a dragon bone necklace, then you can use that, and in return you'll get a lot of prayer XP, and you don't really have to worry about all the bones on the ground. To me, I think this was just a really AFK experience. The 10 hour was no stress at all. I actually did have 1 death in the making of this video though, because I wasn't paying enough attention. I was on 3 accounts during the whole 10 hour, and I was trying to be in the wilderness on one of those accounts for a little too long, and you guys will see a little glimpse of that later on in the video, kind of a preview of the video that I'm making on my Iron Man account right now. So yeah, just be diligent, make sure your HP's above like 15, and you know, that most of the time you should survive here, unless you're using an SGS and you get the breath fire, and most of the time you'll be alright. As you can imagine, most of this video is a lot of banking, mainly because these Skeletal Wyverns only have so few rares that are notable to mention or even pick up, so I didn't want to really record every single drop, but I wanted to make sure that all of the drops were seen throughout this video, not only in the bank but on the ground, so you kind of get a good idea of what you're going to be looking at once you're killing these Skeletal Wyverns if you decide to. These really are a great source for supplies for Iron Man accounts. I mean, the magic logs, the battle staves, the pure essence, the just list goes on and on. It almost seems like their drop table is for Iron Man accounts, which is incredible because I remember killing thousands of them on my Iron Man. That was the jump start of me having hundreds of prayer potions in the bank. So these are a great source of prayer potions, a great source of everything pretty much related to every skill. And I would say without a doubt, definitely a monster that you should kill eventually. Great Slayer task as well. I never would block Skeletal Wyverns. If anything, extend them. Same with Fossil Island Wyverns. And when comparing the two, I definitely find the Fossil Island Wyverns more unique and more interesting, definitely more appealing to more players than just the Skeletal Wyvern itself. When you're looking at the drops, I would say Skeletal Wyverns have it made. I think these are better than any normal Wyvern outside of Ancient, just because Ancient Wyvern has really good drops compared to the other Wyverns in that cave. To my surprise, not using a Ring of Wealth in this video so that I didn't have extra odds to getting those rare drops such as the Rune Spear and the Dragon Stone, I was able to get 2 Rune Spears in this video, which is 1 in 5,000 per spear. So it's pretty incredible. I mean, it's very similar odds to a Visage, so it's kind of unfortunate that a lot of my RNG was spent there. Almost like a spear to the heart, you know, but either way, I did get that. I also got got 67 nature runes and a dragon stone, so I did hit some rare drop tables, just certainly not the right rare drop tables. And as it goes for the weapon choice, unless you're going to be safe spotting them with range, I would say use a whip or dragon scimitar or anything that you really have best in slot for. Your DPS does matter here, but at the same time, as long as you can kill at least 8 to 10 in inventory with melee, I would definitely say it's worth bringing the best things that you have. Either way though, with all of that rambling aside, it is time for the price check. No visage was achieved in this video. It is very unfortunate, but that's okay. We got the expensive one, so I will take that and, you know, accept. 10 hours of Skeletal Wyverns has been completed. Last drop being 20 adamant javelins, of course, another troll rare drop, but I'll take it. Yeah, it's better than nothing. 1.4k really adds up. And just looking at the kills, looks like we got 611 kills overall, so definitely averaging 60 kills an hour. You can probably get more, but again, I was doing different things on different accounts, so you never know. Really depends on your stat. But looking at the price check, this is all the rune items and all of the seeds as well as the staves. We have about 5.8 million GP just from the first price check. 611 bones definitely helping out with that one. Now we move on to the second price check. This is the rest of the herbs as well as the battle staves, the granite legs and dragon legs. And the second price check coming out to be just about 3 mil. We'll go ahead and generously round that up. So 8.8 mil from 10 hours of killing Skeletal Wyverns. 800k an hour if you deduct the supply cost, the super restores and all that. From the one elite clue scroll that we did get, about 107k was made from that. So unfortunately no luck like we had in our last clue scroll from our last video, but I will take it. Getting close to 300 elites overall, so maybe one day we might see that third age. That is going to be it for now, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you all for the continued support on the channel. I'll be seeing you guys in less than a week with a new video on my Iron Man. That being said, that is it for now, and until next time, Mr. No Sleep out.